Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and I've been meaning to cover this one for a bit because Mark Rosewater on May 28th did a Q&A, and let me just say, for a high-level staff member at Wizards of the Coast to have, like, that level of transparency, I guess you would call it, or maybe openness would be a little bit more appropriate, to, like, take, filtered, selected, but whatever, user questions and be like, here's the answer. Oh, our player base, our customers want to know something. I'm going to actually address it. But then again, he runs a Tumblr blog called Blogatog, and he does that like nonstop. I mean, that's why some people at Wizards don't really like him, because he's like out there telling people what's really up. He's got a lot less of a filter. Unfortunately, he's like hyper SJW, just like head straight up his ass level. Oh, all men are evil. Oh, we need more women, blah, 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 representation, all that I'm drinking the feminist Kool-Aid bullshit. Also, his implementation of energy was terrible, but the idea for it was wonderful. So even I'm split on that. So there's a lot of good and a lot of bad when it comes to Mark Rosewater. But I thought, let's see what he has to say about these highly filtered questions from his own private leftist echo chamber. And by that I mean, these came in on like Twitter. He's not addressing like comments and questions and problems, I guess we'll say, left in YouTube comment sections on Wizards videos. So for example, question number 1 is not, why do you still work at Wizards? I mean, how many people in the community are wondering that? No, these are very handpicked. Like the first one, it's like, basically I'm going to sum it up because I'm not going to read these verbatim. They're kind of wordy and very cringy, honestly. It's a lot of, I'm your biggest fan and I pay attention to everything. Look at me, I'm so great. And so I'm going to boil it down to what it really means. So somebody asked him, like, what's the likelihood we'll come back to Dominaria? And they do have, like, a scale, and then they just, like, go from the low to high numbers to, like, just say, okay, where should we go next? Well, this one we marked as definitely revisited, was popular, people liked it, blah, 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 whatever. Well, Dominaria got a 1. Not just a 1, but a solid 1. Oh, and 1 is, I was going to say the highest number. Clearly that's like logically false. 1 is the most likely to return and 10 is the least likely. They call it the Rabaya scale. I don't know. Sounds stupid to me. How about the return probability scale? That way, if somebody doesn't know what the hell Rabaya means, they don't have to. So, the chances we'll return to Dominaria again? Hell, we're probably going right back after Ravnica at this point. It's a 1, guys. And you know Kamigawa's like a 2 or 3. It has to be. The next question, why hasn't buyback been included lately, I guess? I mean, the tweet was literally, why not buyback? Fave mechanic ever. In what? In what set? When? Like, what are you even referencing? The question is from April, by the way. I mean, to say these are filtered would be an understatement. I hate buyback. Buyback is stupid. I don't want to pay for it. Rebound, flashback, and hell, just give me multi-kicker and strive. Okay, that's real crap right there. I hate buyback. By the way, buyback was invented by Richard Garfield in 97 for Tempest. So get this. This is wild. This is why I love articles like this. Okay, they thought about bringing back buyback for Journey into Nyx. Well, thank God they went with Constellation instead. Well, and Bestow, but I feel like, I think that was in Theros. I don't know. Bestow was awesome. Absolutely awesome. It was like Undying, but more fair. Anyway, his explanation for why it wasn't in Journey into Nyx was because the team discovered it wasn't developable, if that's even a real word, at a rate that would make the audience happy. So when we're looking for Dominarian mechanics to bring back, we scratched buyback off our list. I have no idea what he means by that. Maybe it's a nice way of saying it's completely unfair. You could do infinite loops with it and buyback can go straight to hell. I hope that's what he meant, because that's what I mean. Like, seriously, infinite recursion, okay? Take how much you hate a torrential Gearhulk and multiply it by infinity. And remember, flashback, it gets exiled. With buyback, it doesn't. It goes straight back to your hand. So if it costs 2, but then you pay like a 3 buyback for 5 mana, as long as you have 5 mana, you can use that spell over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Which means if you put it on like a counterspell, holy crap. That's why they usually don't put buyback on anything particularly good. It's just such an unfair, stupid mechanic that needs so much limiting and so much like careful testing to make sure it doesn't get broken. I think that's what he was referring to. Now here's a damn good question from Evan. Which came first, the decision to go back to Dominaria or recruiting Richard Garfield for design? Because we know he came back for Dominaria, but which one came first? It turns out the idea to go back to Dominaria around the game's 25th anniversary was years ago, quite a long time before Richard was invited to join the design team. And luckily he was all done playing the holographic doctor on Voyager at that point, so he came back. So basically it turned out he's like, hey, you should come back and work on something. Hey, how about Dominaria? That makes sense. And Richard was like, all right. Somebody asked him, why did they reintroduce Jaya as a planeswalker and then make a Chandra planeswalker deck for the same set? If you think about it, they could have just swapped out Jaya and put her on the front, and that's it. I mean, they're both red pyromancers. It's a decent question, I guess. Basically boils down to, as he puts it, the planeswalker decks for new players, they wanted more recognizable core characters in it, because, I don't know, that seemed logical to them. I kind of get where they're going with that, I guess. If somebody's going to get into Magic, introduce them to the main character. I mean, or one of them, I should say. Oh, I'm going to read this one because I completely agree with it. Somebody asked him, by the way, I'm skipping some of these. What story or stories from Magic's past did you want to make into a saga card but weren't able to? Before he even answered, I'm like, well, the temporal problems at Tolaria Academy. And he answered, the temporal accident at Tolarian Academy. You could do some crazy crap with that saga. In fact, you could probably just make it colorless. Why wasn't there a colorless saga? Probably because it would be broken as hell and everybody would play it. Some dude named Timothy asked, where the hell is Solkanar? I don't know who that is personally, but he wrote, let me answer this question for where the hell is, and then insert character I love. Just generic question, I like this person, why are they not in the set or the story? So he just says, okay, FYI, 33 Magic expansions are set on Dominaria, or Wrath, which later got overlaid onto Dominaria. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's about 10 years worth of Magic. That's a lot of characters. I love how he answers these troll questions just because he wants to give the answer to people. That's freaking awesome. I mean, they changed to single set blocks, and there's only so much you can fit. There's only so many cards, and the story can only be so long, and etc. Basically what you would think. So some hombre named Pedro asked him, ooh, this one's spicy. Was the card Counterspell ever on the table to be printed in Dominaria? OMG, Pedro, we do not use the C word. Or the S word, which if you watch the Boondocks, you already know that's Spear Chucker. Oh my god, they need to make Spear Chucker a mechanic. We all want it back. Modern needs Counterspell. It needs it. But I will say that a set that dumps into 8, 9 legal sets, you don't need Counterspell in that. There's already too damn much control. But then again, no matter what you put it into, at some point it's going to be into a 9 set meta, which is not good. So Maro says we did talk about it. Dun dun dun, never would have thought. So he says we wanted Dominaria to have some high-octane reprints, which means we discussed just about every high-profile card that potentially could come back. Wow, in the entire history of Dominaria? Damn. In the end, we decided we didn't want to bring Counterspell back to Standard and chose to pass on it. But there was an honest discussion about it wherein we weighed the pros and cons. The pros are people will be able to stop stupid degenerate crap and it'll finally make its way into Modern. And the cons are nothing. Oh, it'll enable your stupid degenerate secondary win condition garbage like frickin' Approach of the frickin' Second frickin' Sun. The pros outweighed the cons, they made the wrong choice. You gotta wonder if one of the cons was, we'll make too much money. What are we gonna do with all that money? We would need to buy a wheelbarrow to bring it all to the bank. Okay, actually, Counterspell is $1, I think, come to think of it. I had an Italian signed by the artist one or whatever, Contramagia. It was $8 or something. It was beta revised. Oh yeah, it was FBB, the very first edition. It's been printed to death. Even at rare, I don't think it would break $3. I really don't. I mean, Disallow was a brand new card. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to read this entire one all the way out, but basically he reveals that because Dominaria was originally a big set and a small set, or maybe even 3 sets, it depends how long ago it was, but I think it was 2 sets, and then they just crammed it together into one, due to the change, and I support the change, and they pulled it off. Dominaria was a good set. But apparently the one legendary per booster thing was only going to be in the small set, not the big set. That is actually interesting. Now here's a question we all want to know. Should we expect more legendaries in the uncommon slot, or is like that just a Dominaria thing? Because, you know, Brawl. And Mark says the uncommon legendary creatures in Dominaria were created as an adjustment specifically for this set. As I explained above, you need, actually I don't know where he referenced this above, you need a certain as fan, the percentage at which things show up in a random booster. What does as fan mean? I still have no idea what that means. To make your theme work. I think prevalence is the word you're looking for. Anyway, and legendary creatures are a big part of the history theme, you know, historic, legendary, duh. That said, the positive reception to all the uncommon legendary creatures has definitely led to some discussions in R&D. Let's see, here's the thing. It's wonderful because we needed legendaries. I mean, you gotta equip the Black Blade to someone and you gotta cast historic spells, you know, if your deck's a Dominaria heavy deck. But other than that, legendary just gets in the way. All it is a balancing thing. It's like making stuff cost double white instead of single white. It's just a little pump the brakes, make it, you know, backfire a little percentage of the time because this card is just too damn powerful. So that's why they slap legendary on it. And as he said in the past, it kind of lets people get away with more craziness on a card because the limit is you are never going to have two out at the same time. Like Ghalta. You should not be able to drop out two Ghaltas at the same damn time. That's that 12-12 Trampler. So to me, no, I wouldn't put a ton of legendaries in any set. I hate legendaries. They're just obnoxious. I would just use the legendary keyword appropriately. The problem is Brawl. And Brawl is going to be an ongoing problem. You'll have so few like options that they're just going to start slapping legendary on everything so that people have Brawl commanders and it's going to just ruin it. You'll have to run like 3 in a deck instead of 4 because you just cannot have it backfire and cross over itself. So please do not do that. Unfortunately, he says, yeah, the positive reception, blah, blah, blah. We talked about it. He says, I don't know the outcome yet as the talks are still ongoing. And remember, we work ahead so changes don't appear right away. Oh, so in other words, probably the next 2 sets won't have uncommon legendaries. But it's possible we could tweak our philosophy about legendary creatures at uncommon based on the reaction to Dominaria. No, don't. That would be a mistake. I'm glad they're still discussing it. Hopefully the people who know how math works and how deck building works will veto that. But at least he's strongly implying that like M19 and all of Ravnica will not have legendary uncommons. Oh, by the way, are you ready for this bombshell? Okay, this is huge. So recall Mark said we planned years in advance to make, Return to Dominaria be on the 25th anniversary because Dominaria is where Magic started or whatever. By the way, am I the only one who hopes that we go to Chandalar after Ravnica? So get this. Returning to Dominaria was actually supposed to happen in early 2019. But then somebody at Wizards, and Mark said he legitimately does not remember who it was, which is kind of funny. They were having discussions like, what should we do for the whole big 25th thing? And the person says, well, why don't we move Return to Dominaria back a year, because then it would be on the 25th anniversary. We could be like, oh, for the 25th anniversary, we're going back to Dominaria, woo! And just instantly they were like, yep, let's do that. That it just writes itself, let's do it. How do we work around it? Change the storyline up, whatever. So the whole let's kill Belzenlock before Nicobolus was not really supposed to happen. It's just like a sheer coincidence. So all this, the big twist at the end of the storyline and everything, probably just kind of made up on the fly. They were probably going to defeat Nicobolus and then get the pact like deleted or whatever. Or maybe it was just the Cabal and it was going to be ran by a random demon, not one of the pact holders. And then they're just like, well, duh, let's make it Belzenlock. I mean, why wouldn't we? Because that, it all falls together logically. And then here, Martha, go write this. So that is like amazing. I mean, there are some revelations in this article, man. And I mean, I can't get over this. It would have been a lot nicer, more logical, and had more of a flow if after we took like a big giant sunny vacation in the Caribbean, aka Ixalan, we would have went back to Ravnica, which is where Jace almost went directly to. He went to Dominaria to bitch at him for like 60 seconds, and then he went to Ravnica. So like that was like the side thing, new plane, whatever, because they do tend to do return to a plane, then new plane, return to a plane, new plane, like a cycle like that. So we were supposed to go to Ravnica directly after Ixalan, and if you think about it, that would have made way more sense. It felt like the story was going to that. That's why as soon as I read the ending, I'm like, well, we're obviously going to Ravnica after Dominaria. I mean, duh. Somebody asked if sagas have a chance of coming back in any future sets, even rarely, and the answer is basically maybe, but the problem is they're supposed to be like stories, so if they reference something that we've never heard of that's brand new, it wouldn't really make sense. So basically maybe on the return planes, I guess, it would be a little bit easier. We should return to Ixalan. It's like, hey, remember that thing that literally just happened a month ago? Yeah, it's a saga now. Throwing Kumena out the window of the tower in Raska. Boom, put that on a saga. It could be called The Fall of Kumena, and that by itself is a bit of a play on words and a pun. The first two are destroy target merfolk. And then the third is, I don't know, gain a bunch of mana, because I think after that they touched the center thingy, the Immortal Sun, and then got lots of mana. Somebody wanted to know, after Kamigawa was an absolute disaster, everybody hated it, and Legendary Matters was crap, what made them bring it back? Was it Brawl that did it? And they said, well, we developed Brawl when Dominaria was almost done, so no. And we just, instead of just, hey, Legendary, we, did the history theme, which included Legendaries, and then we worked it in because of that. Odd that he asked that, we already had the answer, but then again, almost every single one of these were from April. So that's it for part 2. I think this was way better than part 1. It was just so much interesting information, a lot of cool behind the scenes stuff. That's why I wanted to share my opinion on it with you guys. If you're interested and this sounds pretty cool, go check out the original article. It's called Odds and Ends Dominaria Part 2, and it's on their, whatever the hell they call that page. I think we all know I'm going to forget to link to it in the description, so just don't even bother asking. If you want something to scream about in the comment section, should I start playing The Witcher 2 for background footage, or a game called Maize, M-A-I-Z-E. It's about corn. I know next to nothing about either of them, but I have a copy of both, and I want to know what to play next. What is more appropriate for background gameplay, or just which one looks the most interesting to you? So, maybe watch a trailer about them, or look up, 5 seconds of gameplay, and then leave your opinion down below. And hey, after you're done doing that, why not check out my Teespring store with some epic t-shirts? I bought one of my own shirts and wore it to go play Pokemon Go, and somebody put 2 and 2 together, and she started bitching at me for like 10 straight minutes about how much she hates me. It was very awkward. I absolutely assure you that actually happened. I am not making that up. I wish I was making it up for comedy reasons, but I'm not, and it did happen. And honestly, if she was a guy, I probably would have punched her in the face. Sorry, wizards, I don't take gender equality as seriously as you do. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.